I remember seeing her before.
What is
At the weddings.
What is it?
Paul is a friend of ours.
Is it Paraya? What do you call it?
He has taken pictures.
What mother?
Parama,
Parama.
but he won't understand. These are all Indian.
Oh, I see. They are not fully, they are in town, but I'm not sure.
The invitation was sent to them. With all the parents.
It was on after that, on the day. It's gonna. Okay, okay, wait. Not at all.
happy life together. 60 years is just the start.
We wish the family, we wish Mr. and Mrs. Ranga a very happy married life and best wishes and a lot of happiness.
6 decades is a long time, so congratulations, auntie and uncle, and all the best for many, many more years of happiness.
Congratulations, auntie and uncle. We love you.
Congratulations, auntie and uncle. Thanks for the great party.
Thank you so much, yes.
Congratulations, happy 60th anniversary.
Feel free to wave, smile, congratulate. Hey, Baba. Baba. Happy anniversary and many more. 68. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to this evening event. Since it is time for us to start this evening program, I request all of you, dear guests, to take your seats. Thank you. This evening is a wonderful evening for all of us. We, Ranganathan's family, are grateful that we are able to celebrate the 60th wedding anniversary of our parents this evening. We will kindly request you all to sit back, relax, and enjoy the India program. Thank you. And now my father will take over the mic.
त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रवीणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा. O Lord, you are my mother, you are my father, you are my kinsman, you are my friend, you are my knowledge, wisdom, you are my wealth of strength, valor and power. You are my all, God of gods. Dear brothers and sisters, may I, on this joyous and pious occasion, extend to each and every one of you my sincere and humble welcome on behalf of the family. And thank you for coming in response to our invitation. My wife, with the help of the children and grandchildren, has put together a program for this evening which you will enjoy immensely, I'm sure. And also, our friend Anand of Woodlands has prepared sattvic, delicious dishes for your enjoyment, which you will equally enjoy. Before I hand over the mic, I would like to thank my dear wife, the nucleus of the family unit, the children, their spouses of different faiths, the grandchildren, and our grandson-in-law, for enabling the family to lead the type of life the family had led over the last 60 odd years. No. This is how our married life is over 60 years. Yes, I was saying, I was thanking the entire family for enabling, in other words, the individual units, for enabling the family to lead a life that we have led. Based, and the secret is, the life is based on human values, derived from the sacred texts of all the religions. The quintessence of which is conveyed in 2 lines by a great Tamil poet saint. And the 2 lines are, Anbum Aranum Udaithayin Ilvarkai Panbum Payanum Adu. In English, it's very simple. This is not my translation of Suddhananda Bharati. In grace and gain, the home excels, where love with virtue sweetly dwells. Now I hand over the mic.
So I made this slideshow for Amma and Appa.
Get into the mic, darling.
So I made this slideshow for Amma and Appa to put on their computer, on their home screen, so they can watch it in,
Talk into the mic, please.
so that they can watch it in privacy every morning and every evening. But once they saw it, they wanted to share it with you. So it has a number of vintage scenes of Amma and Appa early on in their lives, which hopefully you'll enjoy. And then it also has some images of the younger version of yourselves, and some friends and family who are no longer with us but remain in our hearts. And it's also set to music that includes my brother's flute, which is really rare because now he plays it in his soundproof basement all alone. And it's also set to Nandakumar's daughter, Angela. She can't be here with us today because she started her work. but she recorded a couple of songs, and so you'll see it towards the end as well. My siblings very ungraciously call it the never-ending slideshow. But, you know, it spans 60 years of their lives together over 3 generations. And so I tried to compress it as much as possible. So it's about 30 minutes, but I think if you drink a lot of wine, you might enjoy it. So without much further ado, we're gonna start it.
கல்யாணமாம் கல்யாணம் 60ஆம் கல்யாணம்
கல்யாணமாம் கல்யாணம் 60ஆம் கல்யாணம்
கருத்த கூந்தல் அரைத்த பின்னும் காதல் பேசும் 4 கண்கள் கல்யாணமாம் கல்யாணம் 60ஆம் கல்யாணம்
60ஆன வயசில் கூட அப்பா உடம்பு எப்படி உங்க அப்பா உடம்பு எப்படி
அந்த கால உடம்பில்லையா அமைஞ்சிருக்குது இப்படி
20ஆன வயசில் கூட ஏங்க நீங்க இப்படி
ஏண்டி அந்த ரகசியத்தை வெளியில் சொன்னே தப்புடி ஏண்டி அந்த ரகசியத்தை வெளியில் சொன்னே தப்புடி கல்யாணமாம் கல்யாணம் 60ஆம் கல்யாணம்
வயசு தெரியலே
இளமையான ரகசியம்தான் எனக்கு புரியலே
நான் சொல்லட்டுமா
சொல்ல
கணக்கு வச்சு அளவு வச்சு பிள்ளைய பெத்தாங்க அவங்க கணக்கு வச்சு அளவு வச்சு பிள்ளைய பெத்தாங்க
காலம் பார்த்து உற்பத்திக்கு தடை விதிச்சாங்க
கல்யாணமாம் கல்யாணம் 60ஆம் கல்யாணம்
விட்டா எப்போ வாழ்வை பார்க்க போறேண்டி நீ இரவில் மட்டும் என்ன கொஞ்சம் அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணேண்டி கொஞ்சம் அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணேண்டி
அந்த கால புருஷன் மனைவி ரகசிய பேச்சு அதை அடுத்தவங்க பார்த்து விட்டா கௌரவம் போச்சு
இந்த கால குடும்பத்துக்கு ரகசியம் ஏது லைட்டை எரிய விட்டு பேசினால்தான் கௌரவமாச்சு கல்யாணமாம் கல்யாணம் 60ஆம் கல்யாணம் 8 பிள்ளை பெற்றால் கூட லாபமாகலாம் அந்த 8வது பிள்ளை கூட மேதையாகலாம்
8வது மேதைக்காக கர்ப்பம் தாங்கினால் 7 முட்டாள்களை காலந்தோறும் வீடு தாங்குமா
காதலுக்கு உடம்பிற்கு ஆடி முடிப்போம் அந்த கர்ப்பத்துக்கு மட்டும் நாம கதவை சாத்துவோம் அந்த கர்ப்பத்துக்கு மட்டும் நாம கதவை சாத்துவோம்
ஆசைக்கொரு பெண்ணை பெற்று காத்து கிடந்தோம்
நாம ஆசைக்கொரு பிள்ளை பெற்று சேர்த்து வளர்த்தோம் கல்யாணமாம் கல்யாணம் 60ஆம் கல்யாணம் கருத்த கூந்தல் அரைத்த பின்னும் காதல் பேசும் 4 கண்கள் கல்யாணமாம் கல்யாணம் 60ஆம் கல்யாணம்
is blowing in your face, and the whole world is on your case. I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, and there's no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for a million years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. No doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, and I'd go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. The storms are raging on the rolling sea, and on the highway of regret. The winds of change are blowing wild and free. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do. Go to the ends of the earth for you to make you feel my love, to make you feel my love. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Appa. Happy anniversary. I am so sorry that I can't be there today, but I wanted to wish you a very happy anniversary, and I also wanted to read to you a poem that I wrote for both of you on this special day. Dear Amma and Appa, I have a fond memory that I remember vividly. I would exit the school bus with my cousin and sister and discuss every detail of our day. Our entire day would be on replay. Down Lenox Road we would roam until we made our way to your home. We would excitedly make our way into your arms. We each felt like your charms. We would immediately ask you what was for snack, our empty stomachs unable to hold back. We would hope and pray that you would bring out the snack most prized, a big juicy mango of an enormous size. If we were lucky and a mango was brought out, we would cheer and smile and laugh and shout. We would immediately beg you for the mango seed, until just one of our fluttering eyes and begging would succeed. You were our second mom and dad, something that made us so incredibly glad. You taught us the utmost important life lessons to live by, to be happy and have faith even when life goes awry. You taught us to volunteer, to always help others whose life may not be as clear. But most importantly, you shaped each of us into who we are today. You have shaped Mira into the smart, hardworking, and positive person that she is today. You have made me into a caring, dedicated, and loving person that I am today. You have shaped Priya into the musical, selfless, and conscientious person that she is today. You have shaped Serena into the funny, bright, and quick-witted person that she is today. You have shaped Aaron into the introspective, cheerful, and creative person that he is today. You have shaped Tara into the determined, loyal, and curious person that she is today. We are who we are because of having you nearby, and although we have grown up, you are the reason that we fly. I hope you have a wonderful anniversary. I wish I could be there. I can't wait to see pictures and share this experience with you over Thanksgiving. Happy anniversary.
That was a surprise seeing my daughter on the screen. I didn't know about it. Angela, unfortunately, my oldest daughter, Angela, was unable to come because she just started. She's a teacher in California, and she just started school this week. And although she begged her principal to give a couple of days off, unfortunately, they were not as understanding as they should have been. Moving on. I had the great pleasure in inviting Dr. Sivakumar Srinivasan to speak this evening at the celebration of my parents' 60th wedding anniversary. Dr. Siva, as we fondly call him, is a good friend of the family and has known our parents through various side activities. He is a practicing board-certified oral surgeon in Rockville. He lives in Potomac with his wife Sita and daughter Sai. And he has participated in various eye medical camps in countries which needed desperate medical services. As an ex-president of the Bethesda Eye Center, he is very much involved in spiritual service and devotional activities. May I kindly ask Dr. Shiva to take us over. Thank you.
I don't want Auntie to get to the mic here. I do have a loud voice, hopefully to carry. Respected elders, friends and families of the Ranganathans. Sai Ram, good evening. It's truly a pleasure to be here this evening to celebrate this joyous occasion of the 60th wedding anniversary. Most of us have been to the 60th birthday celebrations, the Satya Purti, but this is the first time I'm attending a 60th wedding anniversary. Kudos to uncle and auntie to have agreed to have this celebration, and kudos to the family for celebrating it so grandly. This is going to leave a lot of memories, and for those of us who've been enjoying the lovely photo show put up by Ranga, it brought us not only just the happiness of their family, but it all took us back to our own childhoods, of us growing up, our grandparents, you know. So it was such a beautiful treat, and Daya, thank you very much. Thank you. We've all heard this adage, chip the block, or verily the block itself. You know, I heard this many times during my education time. They speak about the younger generation, you know, extolling the values of somebody who's very revered. I have to say, in my limited interactions with the children and grandchildren of the Ranganathan family, I've seen in all of them a very affectionate, loving outlook that they carry and confidence that they carry. And I have to say, I think a lot of the thanks are due to both uncle and auntie for instilling those values. I mean, Swami has told us that children are supposed to be considered to be like the neighbor's jewels, something to be treasured, but to be returned back, not to hold on to at some point of time. But I think in the process of doing that, you have instilled all the values that I mentioned earlier, of discipline, of love, and confidence. What more a gift can parents hand over to their children, because this will be passed on for generations. When I was asked to say a few words, I was just thinking, what am I going to say in this August assembly here? But then I remember two things. They always say when the teacher is ready, the master appears. And I've witnessed in Puttaparthi, when students are asked to do something, they do it right away. The question of preparedness doesn't come at all, because Swami is the inner motivator, and he will provide the right answers. So today when Sister Padma speaks, and when I'm speaking, I gratefully hope Swami will convey what he wants to convey to two of us devotees who are here. I first met Uncle and Auntie at the Bethesda Science Center. I've been going there for many years, but Uncle and Auntie have been part of it from the very inception. Uncle got into Swami, from what I understand, during his very early years in his career. And I think from that point of time, there's been no looking back. They've opened their homes, they opened their hearts, and faith has been, I think, the center of their lives. They not only, I think the first, even the first Western Center meetings, I think I hear were at their home, when they wanted, now it's just called the Washington DC Center, but I think earlier it was first started in their home, I think facilitated by Dr. Goldstein. And not only that, their home has been open for any time we needed to either do a play practice or Amma services needed their home, or for anything. Their home has been open. And I have to say that I always look at them as the ideal couple. No words are wasted. I've never heard any complaining. Crisp, very loving. And it's such a lovely sight to see them on a very regular basis at the Sai Center, where I see them the most. And they also are very active in participating in center activities and in the Narayana Seva, which is the core feeding that happens twice a month. I often seen Uncle and Auntie come there with a home cooked meal to be mixed with the food that's brought over and taken over to DC to feed the poor. More than anything else, there are a few center officers here, and I'm sure you'll all agree with me. I have felt what to say, when the responsibility of the center is on your shoulders, and when you walk into the center and there are a few individuals, elders, who strongly support the structure that Swami has put in through the centers. And I think it's something never that's been spoken about, but I can't tell you how thankful we are all on the constant support that we have felt in the center from the elders. And not only from the process of choosing the office bearers in the center, but also guiding and being there every Sunday. I think is a tremendous support that I don't know how else to express. Many of us have heard, Wayne Dyer often when he speaks, he says, if only one knows who walks beside them at all times, there'll be no room for fear at all. And Swami has also said, I'm always within you, around you, always. I think many of us theoretically have heard this, but I think Uncle and Auntie are truly living this teaching of Swami. Through all the ups and downs of life, I think constant feeling, that he is there, he is guiding, and holding on to him, I think is a lovely example for all of us, to look up to and learn. I ask all of you to join me in praying that good Lord continue to guide and bless the family, bless Uncle and Auntie, and bless everyone. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sivan. Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce you my good friend and the next speaker for this evening, Dr. Padma Kothur. Padma's family has been well known to us ever since the late 70s, when her father, Mr. Ram Saboo, and our father worked together at the World Bank. After obtaining a doctorate in economics at the George Washington University, she joined the International Monetary Fund, IMF, as an economist and rose up to the position of Division of Chief for a number of years. A fine speaker, a great musician, and she has contributed her talents, energy, and time to the pursuit of side spiritual, devotional, and service activities. It's a joy for our family to call upon her to speak this evening. Give a hand to Dr. Goto.
I have to remind myself that I'm not one of the honorees today. I don't wish to prolong this description about myself, my introduction, but I did want to add that in my years at the IMF, and I don't think I've told you this before, I worked as a desk economist for Sri Lanka for a couple of years. So I had the opportunity to visit the country and enjoy my visits to Colombo and my interaction with the authorities. So you see I'm very much at home in this group today. Well, good evening everyone. It is a pleasure for me to make a few comments and say a few remarks about Mr. and Mrs. Ranganathan, or as we fondly refer to them, Uncle and Auntie Ranganathan. I thank the family for this opportunity to speak on this very auspicious occasion of your 60th wedding anniversary. I thought maybe I would begin with a little joke, if I may. A couple was celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary, very much the way you both are, and someone asked them, what is the secret of your success of this long and happy marriage? The husband said that, shortly after our wedding, we agreed that all the major decisions in this house will be made by the husband, by me, and the minor decisions of this house will be made by my wife. And as it turns out, after 60 years, we have never had to make any major decisions. Anyway, I thought the ladies in the room will enjoy and appreciate it. So, we and my family and I have known the Ranganathans for 30 30 plus years when I was maybe this high, maybe a little bit older than that. And we have basically had two common bonds with families. One is that we were both World Bank families, and the other one was that we have been both involved in the Satya Sai Center for many years, for many years actually, several decades. Maybe I'll start with a little something about my father and Mr. Ranga. You know, they were of course World Bank colleagues, but I think their relationship also went beyond that. And I'd like to say that you were what I might call bhajan buddies. Because every Sunday when they went to the center, sorry, my mouth is very dry. Can I have a little water, please? So every Sunday when they went to the center, they would sit together generally, and both before and after the prayers, they would chat on various subjects that extended from family to current developments to spiritual matters. And I think also they covered a lot of World Bank gossip, so probably it was not very juicy. Anyway, I think both these gentlemen and gentlemen, they both are, enjoyed those discussions very much. The first time I think we encountered you at close quarters were with the sandwich program. There used to be a program where we all meet. This was in the 80s. We would meet in Auntie's house at about 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays and make sandwiches for the homeless. It was a pretty routine activity, in the sense it was sort of like an assembly line activity almost. But we really, really enjoyed this experience. And I think some of that, of course, is because we were trying to help others, and that always makes one happy. But it really was a lot more than that. I think a lot of it owes to the wonderful atmosphere that you both created for us. You opened your home to us with a lot of warmth and affection, and gave us a very nurturing environment where we could all get together and work together. And you encouraged us, many, especially us youngsters, younger, members at that time. And there was a lot of good camaraderie and great vibes. And we would sing bhajans while we would make those sandwiches, and after that we would get together and we would have a chat over a hot cup of coffee and the leftover peanut butter sandwiches. And they were not half bad, I can tell you. We really enjoyed them. I mean, I think the fact that we were all willing to go there at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, very often in the middle of winter, again shows what a nice experience this was for all of us. So this was my first interaction, but I'll jump now to my most recent interaction, which was in the context of the Science Center again. I've been privileged to be the study circle facilitator in the center for the last 4 years. This is basically a forum where we discuss, spiritual matters. And I very much appreciated Uncle and Auntie's presence, very regular presence, as Shiva said, and contributions to our discussions. They were always there, week after week, literally rain or shine. Auntie especially would come well prepared with all her notes, having thought about the subject and ready to go and share her experiences with others. Whenever I called upon her to speak at short notice, because someone would typically lead the discussion, she would always be willing to step in and help me out. And as you know, they're very much of a spiritual bent, and they both have read and thought a lot about these matters, both Hindu scriptures as well as, I think, other divine teachings and readings. And they brought to bear in our discussions that deep knowledge and wisdom and experience, and they added a lot to all our work. But I think it was more than erudition. I think they, in the case of Auntie, I think her main contribution I could see was the conviction and her deep faith and devotion to God, which would really come through to us and inspire everyone. Now, Uncle's style, as you all know, is a little different. He's quieter, but he would also, his contributions were no less intense, and he's clearly a man of deep convictions and very sound principles. So that's some of the things. And then over the years, I've come to admire various other aspects about them. One important one being their discipline. Discipline in the regularity with which they came to the center. Discipline in getting up every morning in the wee hours, like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I don't remember when exactly they get up. But something very early, I know, and doing meditation. And right after that, heading to the YMCA. And in doing that sort of a regimen year in and year out, I think really is quite impressive. In this regard, actually, Kumu told me that one winter morning when there were 3 inches of snow out there, uncle, auntie, she was horrified actually to see that uncle and auntie were moving tree limbs out of their driveway so they could head out to the Y. I think most of us on a day like that would probably pull the sheets, a little closer and, tuck back into the sheets, but, not them, they sort of went out. The other thing which I have been impressed with over the years is how they have kept up with the internet revolution. Believe me, they are no Luddites. I hear, but first of all, I hear that they text, they email, auntie is watching. This came as a bit of a surprise, watching movies on the iPad with even speakers on. And I hear that, I know you've sent a few things to my father too. Uncle apparently is quite fond of sharing various internet articles and other things with his old friends. And, and apparently he's quite passionate about it, so much so that, it sort of conjures up an unusual image of this trying to talk fast because I have a time limit. Where he would actually, I can imagine him just sort of all sitting over a computer, sort of contributing to these things going viral. And anyway, so that was very impressive. And I must say, I also noticed this about Auntie in the study circle sessions. Initially, just like most other speakers, when she would make a presentation, she would distribute hard copies, hand-printed handouts, as most people traditionally would. But over time, sort of taking the cue from some other people who were using PowerPoint presentations, she started using PowerPoint presentations. And I was really quite impressed with that. Finally, I don't think one can conclude one's comments about the Ranga family without talking about the emphasis they give to family, as Shiva has also already touched on. And you see they have a lovely family. And I think they're actually the best testament to that, to the love and warmth and pride with which they have brought up their children, are their children themselves, the fine individuals they have turned out to be. We are fortunate, my family and I, that we have known not only uncle and auntie, but also the children and grandchildren. In fact, Kumu and I, as she was saying, we've often worked together in Sunday school programs and other things. And I've had Meera, Aaron, Priya, all as some of our prize Sunday school children. So it's been very good knowing all of you. And I think this emphasis on family translated into a strong sense of community. And I think the very fact that there are so many people here attests to that strong sense of community that you have always emphasized. And again, as Shiva has said, they have always considered the Sai Center to be their second home, and all of us Sai Center members to be part of their extended family. And it has been sort of a very mutually beneficial relationship. So in closing, life for most people, what life people may consider a good life is, contributing to family and friends, raising a good family, and furthering one's own spiritual development. And I think if we agree on that, they certainly deserve our heartiest, congratulations. So my parents, sister, and I join me in extending our warmest wishes to you for another wonderful, happy 60 years. I, however, would not like to conclude without reading a very brief excerpt, since that's all I have time, from one of Auntie's beautiful poems. This is a poem entitled Beauty, which says, "Filled with love, I looked for beauty near me, around me. What a joy, what a prize. I found it in every speck. Signed, thank you.
Thank you very much, Padma, for your kind words. Now, as we move along, I'm going to introduce, I have a great pleasure in introducing our next speaker for the day, Dr. Ramachandran, whom we fondly call us as Uncle Ramachandran. Uncle Rama and Auntie Malati have known us since the late 1970s. Uncle Ramachandran is a reputed economist and he has worked in the World Bank for many years before his retirement. He enjoys his retired life between Bethesda, Florida, and his many travel cruises. I call upon Uncle to address the gathering this evening.
It was in this very room 10 years ago that we met to celebrate the golden anniversary of Ranga Kanaga. Kanaga is how the French call it. That celebration I recall, being the 50th, was in itself a rare milestone. So the relevant question to ask today is what, 10 years later on the road, what is new, what is different from all the praise that we shouted at Ranga and Kannada on that day. In fact, I was one of the speakers on that event. So I think to answer that question, I think the answer is that the last 10 years have brought out more clearly various elements of the success story of the Ranganathan family. For one thing, Kanaga has proved to be the quintessential matriarch. A matriarch who has guided the fortunes of her family. And but at the same time, she has done it in ways which is hardly noticeable. That's the beauty of how Kanaga works, I think. And Ranga and Kanaga, I must say, have been like a magnet to their children. The children, even as they grew up, they married and moved out. Do you know that 3 of their 4 children opted to settle down within virtually a stone's throw of the Ranganathan home in Oxford. And the 4th child didn't move too far away either. I think they settled down in West Virginia. So it is with the love and affection that was being shown to Ranga and Kanaga by the children who were surrounding them. This is part of the explanation, I think, of the Ranganathan success. And Ranga and Kanaga could simply not go wrong in this environment. Equally, I must say that Ranga and Kanaga have done yeoman service to their children and grandchildren. I'm aware of all the details. And from infancy through school, colleges, even through marriage. And it's no secret that Ranga has some special needs from time to time. And one thing I have noticed is how Kanaga has always kept an eagle eye on Ranga's needs and attended to him. That is something that has impressed me many years. I've spoken a lot about, probably too much about Ranga, but I must say something about Ranga. Ranga, given Kanaka's personality, I think Ranga is the perfect complement. So much so, I think it's true to say, at least as far as I know, in the Ranganathan household, there is not even the customary quarrel which characterizes many families. And part of the story is that as a couple they have fitted well together. And as I said, I need to make a special comment on Ranga. What would I say is Ranga's defining characteristic? I would say it is Ranga's smile. As all of you know, Ranga has a constant smile, which I think is his way of saying, I am at peace with everyone. So looking forward, we should all be happy that these elements of the Ranganathan success story are continue to be solidly in place. And let me thank the Ranganathan children for inviting us to this memorable event. And to Kanaka and Ranga, once again, congratulations on the 60th anniversary. All the best for the future. And hope there will be many more anniversaries.
I think you'll agree that the evening won't be complete without Amma saying thank you to all of you. With that, I'll ask Amma.
Thank you, Daya. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's such a wonderful, beautiful evening, and it's my pleasure, privilege, and joy to speak a few words on this wonderful occasion of the celebration of our 60th anniversary of our wedding. As I think back, I think it has been a wonderful 60 years. But before that, let me tell you the role that I have been given. My role is to thank all those who contributed greatly to the 60 years of marriage, and also to those who have made today's event a great success. But before I start my thank you, just a little preamble. Just when we started getting ready for this function, we were told, we meaning my husband and I, we were told there will be no speeches at all. This is just an occasion for social mingling and social gathering. We kept mum. Then they came back and they said, okay, Father, you can speak just to welcome the people. And they said, Mother, you can maybe go to the mic and thank the people. Then after that, we were given a final instruction. We kept mum through all this process. Final, the instruction was, Father, nothing more than 2 minutes. And Mother, you had only 2 minutes at your disposal. That is really to thank all the people who contributed so beautifully for our 60 years of marriage together, and for people who made today's event a success. 2 minutes to speak within that is really a Herculean task. So with this Damocles sword of time constriction hanging over my head, I'll try to juggle to do my thank you.
Now, jokes apart, to come back to serious things in life, my first thanks are due to the Almighty God, the love, the grace, the blessing that Almighty God has showered on us to make our 60 years a wonderful 60 years of companionship and pleasant one. Now, there is a spiritual saying, not even a blade of grass can move without the divine will and grace. So too, not a single day can be added or subtracted to the lifespan of an individual. Nor can a single day can be added or subtracted to the lifespan of a marriage of two people. Now, life is not a bed of roses. Life has its ups and downs. It has joy and sorrow. It has ecstasy and misery. It has all these variations of opposite. But in spite of all these variations, my husband and I have lived all these 60 years pretty harmoniously. And dear Lord, oh Almighty Lord, we thank you for your grace and for your blessing and for the wonderful joy that you have given us all these 60 years. That is the first gratitude I give to the dear Almighty Lord. My second gratitude for these 60 years of wonderful joy and wonderment, I have to give it to my husband, who ever since he married me 60 years ago, never tried even a bit to control me. He gave me a lot of space, lot of freedom for my personality to grow in its full potentiality. I believe that it is Khalil Gibran, the great Persian poet and philosopher, who, when asked by his disciples, "Dear master, what do you think of marriage?" He said, in a marriage, let the two members sing together, dance together, eat together, but let them give space to each other so that they do not control each other's personality. They allow each one to grow to their full potentiality. He said, look at the two mighty pillars in a temple. They stand apart, but still together they hold the whole structure of the temple in unison. So, my dear husband, I thank you for the space you gave me, for the freedom that you gave me to grow myself in my full creative personality. Thank you. And then my thanks goes to the divine blessings and gifts that God has given both of us, our dear 4 children. In order, Nandini, the eldest born, then Nanda Kumar, our only son, and after 60 years followed by Kumudini, and then Dalini. Dear children, as we held you in your arms tenderly from the time you were born, as we watched you toddling around, going to school, getting educated, getting married, and leading your own lives, you were so wonderful in listening to us, listening to all the positive human values which we had learned at the feet of these great saints and seers. You followed them, you practiced them, and you came out to be wonderful children whom Appa and I think are the greatest blessings that God has given us. And along with these 4 children that we had, do you believe the joy of having acquired 4 more children during their marriage? I would not call them in-laws. They are children. They are our own children. The first being Dr. Armuganathan, and then Janet, and then comes Dr. Mark Hendricks, and then come Dr. Rajan Sadasivam. Now these children, along with our children, gave us so much of joy. They brought joy not only into their own families, but they brought joy for me and my husband. And as the years rolled on, as we became older and older, when we found that our physical strength was getting lesser and lesser, you
4 plus 4, 8 children. You stood by us. You helped us. You made us, face the challenges of life in such a beautiful manner. You're still doing that. You helped us and you're still helping. So thank you, dear 4 natural children plus the 4 acquired children. Thank you very much for the joy and love and blessing that you brought us. Now I come to the most delightful part of my husband's and my journey together. That is these beautiful 6 grandchildren that we have had. Dear grandchildren, you have brought so much of joy into our lives. Starting with Meera, our oldest grandchild. Along with the grandson, a beautiful grandson, a handsome gift that we acquired through the marriage of Meera, Manish. And then we thank you. We thank Angela, who a musician, and she's a teacher of the family, a wonderful girl who is very delightful with us. Unfortunately, she could not come, but it was such a very strange and blessing for us to watch her on the screen wishing us. So we thank Angela. And then next comes Priya, who always helps us, and she is just poised to enter medical school when she graduates next year. And whenever she comes to Bethesda, she is ever ready to help us. Thank you. And then comes our smiling Serena, who is about to finish her business school and about to enter the field of medicine and follow her father's footsteps. And whenever she is around us, she helps us. She's such a joy to us. Thank you, yes, Serena. And then comes her one and only grandson, who lives across the street and whom Appa always calls for little things, even putting the trash away. He is called upon to help, and ever readily he helps us. And thank you very much. And finally, the greatest divine gift that God has blessed us with during the wintry years of our life, the charming little princess, Tara, who delights us always, delights us with her innocent prattle, with a beautiful childhood, and she's about to enter pre-kindergarten. In Wonder School this coming September. So dear children, thank you very much, grandchildren, for all the joy that you brought up. Finally, I have to thank all the friends that my husband and I had gathered along during the 60 years of our living. The friends we gathered in Sri Lanka from Jaffna and Colombo, and then when we lived in London and in Tanjung Ara in Indonesia, we gathered a lot of friends. And today, dear friends, dear friends, you're all here representing the family and community from Bethesda, whom we have known for such a long time. You're here to delight us. And we have our wonderful Sai friends from the Sai family, whose association has brought us so much of joy, so much of love, so much of Swami's grace into our lives. And amongst you, we have the Amma, that is Ammachi Mada Amadana Mai's group, whose association of her devotees and all that has brought us so much of wonder and beauty into our family. And ultimately, I don't know whether, is Derek here? I don't know. Derek? No. Well, we go to the YMCA and we have acquired friends. We are there for a couple of hours, all 5 days of the week, for a physical, whatever you call it. And we have such wonderful friends from there. So dear friends from the Bethesda community, from the Sai family, from Amma's family, and from the YMCA, we really thank you for the enrichment of life that you have brought me and my husband. And to today, thank for people who have made this a wonderful success.
I have to thank the management of the Women's Club of Bethesda, who was so gracious enough to give this nice facility. And they gave this facility to us 10 years ago when we celebrated the 50th wedding anniversary. I'm sure some of you would have been there. And then I have to thank Tracy. Tracy, where are you, Tracy Trisco? Oh, she has been wonderful to do all these floral decorations. And she did this not professionally, though she is a professional person, regarding the flower decoration, but she spontaneously and naturally gave her time, her energy, her everything to see the beauty of the place as you see it today. Not only that, there's a secret which you will know later. And thank you, Tracy, for that, for this wonderful gift that you have given to us. And before I forget, I have to thank my children for organizing this, but more so, my youngest daughter, Daya, I don't know where she is, for the beautiful display of the memories. She spent a long time. I had collected a lot of albums. She went through all the albums. It was a project she took upon herself. And she made, I'm sure you would have been delighted to see our story through the 60 years, through the eyes of Daya. And more than anything, through her visual images and the visual messages, she let my husband and me know, and all of you, the great impact that we have had on their lives. The first time my husband and I had an inkling of that thing, we were moved to tears because the children showed how much, teaching of the values we learned at the feet of these great, great divine masters, how it has really made an impact on their lives. And before I finish, I have to thank Anand. Anand, are you there? Anand. He's coming.
Oh, thank you.
Anand is not only the owner and proprietor of Woodlands and Jewel of India. He is also not only at the caterer for today, but he's a wonderful friend, always smiling, always ready to cater. There's not a single Ranganathan event without, the catering of Anand and his team. Anand and his team for have been so gracious enough to agree to, and there's a wonderful dinner waiting for you, complete with coffee, dessert and everything. You'll be happy. And Paul today volunteered to come and take the video. He has been there with us ever since Daya got married, right through the 50th wedding anniversary. And today he invited himself to come and take this. But before I finish, many of you came and asked me when you came and talked to me, what is the secret of the success of the 60 years of life? Can you please tell us? I think this is what is it. I have to thank the amazing, my daughter, I don't know whether you looked at the last chapter of her slideshow. She entitled it as Amazing Grace of God. And it was supported by the singing of that beautiful Christian hymn, Amazing Grace of God by Angela. She's a good musician. I don't know whether you listen to that. So finally, I have to thank the amazing grace of God that is always surrounding us, always pouring its love and grace upon us. Only if we have eyes to open and see the divine light that is dazzling around us forever. If only we have ears open to listen to the invisible footstep of the divine Lord as it crosses our life every day. If only we open our hearts to fill with the love and grace of God as it pours upon us in torrential rain. If only we can do that, if we can allow the amazing grace of divinity that is all around us, ready to come upon our life every moment, every second. If only we open our eyes and ears and our hearts, then dear friends, our life will be a blissful one, a joyous one, a wonderful one. Today, as I look around and see the loving faces of each and every one of you, filled with so much of love, so much of joy, so much of bliss, I really thank you on behalf of myself, my husband and my family. I thank you for the love and joy and the enrichment you have brought into our lives. Thank you once again, the Almighty God, my husband, the children, 8 in all, the grandchildren, 6 in all, and all of you dear friends for the joy and wonder and beauty you have brought into our 60 years of married life. Thank you once again, one and all, dear friends. Now my family close and then we will have our dinner. Nanda Kumar?
Dear friends, dear family, speeches are drawing to an end, and I'm sure you're looking forward to savoring the fine food that you are beginning to get the aroma of. So what I would like to do is to toast on this happy occasion of my parents. And I would like to, I'm not going to speak long, so sit back, relax, and just give me 45 minutes. And I'll wrap this up very quickly. 60 years of marriage. That's quite an innings. There are various definitions and interpretations to the word marriage. In fact, only the other day I heard somebody describing marriage as, marriage is like putting your hand into a bag of 99 snakes and one beautiful rose. You may be able to get the rose, but what are the odds? Socrates was a little bit more encouraging. By all means, marry, he said. If you get a good wife, you will become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. The marriage of Amma and Appa has been a unique one. They did not pursue self-interest within the marriage or through the marriage. Instead, for them, marriage was an institution. It was an institution to nurture my sisters and me, and then our children, and then, hopefully, in the near future, their children. Not too soon, though. It remains an institution to enrich all our lives, within the institution, to guide them, to help them, to get them to help one another. Once they put that house in order, Amma and Appa opened up the borders of their institution outside to go beyond the family. They served and serviced their neighbors, their friends, their communities, and their spiritual families that they belonged to. It is an institution that was anchored on love, wisdom, commitment, consideration, compassion, and perseverance. Their goal in marriage is not to think alike, but think together. It is diamond wedding that my parents celebrate today, and how appropriate. The word diamond, true to its name, their marriage has achieved the status of a diamond. It is blindingly brilliant, rich in its value, tough in its composition, and flawless in its character. Amma and Appa did find that rose in the bag of 99 snakes. They may argue who got it first, but that's not relevant here. Friends and family, please join me in wishing Amma and Appa a very happy 60th wedding anniversary and many anniversaries more. Cheers. Cheers. Now I would like to invite Serena and Aaron to the podium here so that Amma and Appa can exchange garments.
So without much ado, thank you for all your attention. We're going to invite you to join us for dinner. Thank you.